Hello, this is Seth with Blend Precisely and Katrin as well. We're going to do something a little different today. We've gotten a few questions that are more or less common, and we wanted to feed them back to you and hear what other people are wondering about. So, Katrin, can you hear me? Let's start with that. No, you can't hear me. Okay. All right, well, let's adjust the settings here a bit. Okay, all right, audio, here we go. Test, 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 pum, 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 pum. All right, okay, I'm going to take that one out and we'll just use something different. Okay, can you hear me now? Okay. So, screen share, slide, share screen. Okay, there. Now you can see Katrin, and hopefully you can hear me.
Hi, everyone. You're in the show. That's what it says now. Thank you for adding me.
Okay. So just in case you couldn't hear me before, what we're doing is a little question and answer session here. We've gotten a few questions from some of our customers and thought you'd enjoy hearing the answers. So, Katrin.
Yes.
Can you give me a question, please?
I can give you a question, actually. So one of the questions, and I think, Seth, you have the names in front of you who asked the questions, but one of the questions was, why are there two logins?
Well.
And you want to answer them because you can do the screen sharing. We do have two logins in case you didn't know. And
this one I think I'm going to just describe. So when you first sign up, we're leveraging some software that helps us to connect with you and handle a lot of automations. This is one of the things that Katrin teaches in her courses about leveraging tools and automations to better handle your system. So when you log into that one, you're opting in. You haven't necessarily bought the app. And then when you go buy the app, you have a separate login. And that login is dedicated to just the app. We've looked at combining the two, and we're not entirely certain we want to do that because we do have other products and for security and some other reasons. We're looking at possibly merging those, but for now, we don't. So I recommend strongly recording both of them. If you ever need to make adjustments or whatever in the other environment, which you shouldn't need to do, it'll come in handy. So just save both of them.
Yeah, so Sharon asked that question. I hope that answers it. But basically, you have academy.blendprecisely.io and you have app.blendprecisely.io. And in the Academy, you also have the back office, which contains all your settings. So if you ever need to change your credit card number, if you need to add another product or delete a product or whatever you have from Blend Precisely, you can do this all in the back office. And that's also where you receive the updates of Blend Precisely features. They all come through the academy.blendprecisely.io. So I'm actually handling that part mostly, and Seth is on the app.blendprecisely, the one you're working with. And so for us, that's a very clean cut, so I can do all my stuff on my side.
Okay, thanks, Katrin. So Jackie asks, can we convert between cosmetic to drops? And why can't I if I can't? So
actually, Jackie, if I can say that, Jackie has been instrumental to many things and she's asking really good questions and also really good small little annoyances, and I love her for that because she's very honest and she really brings the product forward. So never shy back actually on asking us questions. And Seth is going to show you or answer that part.
Okay, let me share screen here and go into infinity mode here for a moment. And back. Okay, hopefully you can all see my screen. So
Donna
here,
says hello, and Jean says yes, she can hear you. So
okay, excellent, thank you. Always good to have that feedback.
yeah.
So I've got the cosmetic button clicked here, and if I try to unclick it, it says, "Oh, you can't do it." And that's a very intentional design change, simply because cosmetic mode operates in a completely different way. Uh,
Okay, can I just ask a question, Seth?
yeah,
So this is a saved recipe in cosmetic mode, correct?
yes, that's correct.
Okay, okay.
Sorry,
Just wanted to
this
back
is
up a moment.
Cosmo 1,
Yeah.
cosmetic mode. Those are the clues. All right, and in cosmetic mode, you give some basic units of like a 15 milliliter bottle or 100 grams, and you specify how much of percentage of the different ingredients you want to supply. So the other mode is probably the one that you're most familiar with is the what we call the aromatherapy mode. We've played around with a few different names. We haven't come up with a solid one, but we'll call it drops mode for today. So this one, you're just adding ingredients and specifying what units you want. People most often use drops here and for the essential oils and for the carrier oil, fluid ounces or some other unit. So it's definitely possible to convert between one way from drops to cosmetic, but going backwards to from cosmetic where you have no information about drops or grams or any of that. You just have percentages. There's no way to get the drops out of that. So you would have to supply more information. So there are some technical ways to go after that, to like save two things and do some other clever manipulations. But once you save it, there's no coming back. So I kind of want to talk to Jackie a little bit to zoom in on that one, but it is a question that we've received a few times, and we'll look at it. But
Yeah, but also to just mention, and we should not forget about it. Right now, we mostly still have, let's call them recipes, and the recipes are often in drops and fluid ounces and tablespoons. Especially if we have been doing it for years and years, the industry is only slowly changing right now into using cosmetic mode, meaning percentages in grams or milliliters. But for the ones who have entered their recipes into the aromatherapy mode, meaning drops and let's say fluid ounces and tablespoons, you can go over to more statistics and have actually everything showing up here under the blend percentages in grams and percentage. So in theory, what I do still is I take those numbers. If I really want to convert them over into percentages and grams, I just use these numbers and enter them as a cosmetic recipe or cosmetic formulation for future use. And then I call it, let's say, sleeping blend AT mode for aromatherapy or COS mode for cosmetic therapy. Cosmetic therapy. Oh, we have a new word for cosmetic mode. So I use this conversion here, which works really fine.
okay, one thing I'd like to point out, one of the features on our roadmap is to actually give you a button here to convert from aromatherapy mode into a cosmetic mode.
Yeah.
That is definitely doable, and we do have that. As Katrin mentioned, the industry is changing, so a lot of people have things in using drops and grams instead of the cosmetic mode. So we're trying to provide a path to go from what you have to the other if you want to. The app will certainly support both. It's your call on what you like to do. No need to be trendy. It's just whatever you like.
Mm.
Okay, so I think we've answered that one, Katrin. What's
Yeah.
that?
So the next one is actually, why can I not add my own raw ingredients? And that one was coming from Melissa. And why can I not add my own raw ingredients? And maybe I can answer this, Seth, because I'm mostly in charge of adding the new raw ingredients.
Yeah, sure.
So basically what we are doing, what we're trying to provide is the most accurate information for you in terms of safety information, in terms of endangered plant species, but also the INCI name and Latin name. So if somebody would enter their own raw ingredients, we would end up with a huge pile of names, let's say lavender. And I always have to smile because Seth likes to write lavender still with an A, and I always write it with an E.
As it
But
should
that
be.
is just but that is just something what happens, and everybody can, human error, and we go through a really big process of entering, double checking, going to multiple sources to make sure we get the right INCI name in there, the right Latin name, the right density as well, which is not available necessarily to everyone. So that's why we have the raw ingredient request form in our academy.blend precisely environment. If you're a member, you have access to that form. Or we also say you can just send us an email, hello@blendprecisely.io. I think it is just, yes, it does take some time. It's a bit more cumbersome for the user because it takes 24 to 48 hours for us to enter them. But I think it will just give all of you the most accurate information possible. And so that's why. Sorry for the circumstances, but not sorry because you get clean information.
Yeah, I would just add, most of the programs out there are not focused on coming up with the detailed numbers for costing and some of the other bits of information here. So we have to go the extra step to make sure we're getting all the details in there that you might not otherwise have the patience or time to do.
Yeah, so thank you for the patience, and I hope that that clarifies why we ask you to send us a new raw ingredient. And we have, I think, 685 in there now. I just added another couple this morning, and the list is growing, so it's beautiful, actually.
Okay, Sammy asks, how is costing done if my hourly rate currency is different from my formulation currency? All right, that's a bit of a concept there, but let me show you what he's talking about. So in this example, you see an hourly rate and you see a dollar symbol. And if I were to change the currency of this particular blend, you would see that everything is in terms of euros. But the dollar amount stays, the dollar symbol remains on the hourly rate. So the formulation is accurate. What we do is we take the hourly rate that is specified in the preferences, and we use the one that you specified as your default currency. So whatever that is, we convert that into whatever currency you have in your recipe.
Yeah, and I think that's not for many users, because I experienced that, for example, when we were still living in Portugal, that we did have, or I had my clients in US dollars and euros. So I had to decide what I'm going to use or what I'm using. But then there were the pounds as well. So I think for the majority, it might not be the case. In this case, for Semi, it is. But yeah, that's the answer. We do convert everything accurately in the back end then.
Okay, we have another question.
Yeah, we do. So we have a question from Julie, actually. She's asking, what happens to my costing when I change my prices? So I
Yeah.
think what she means by that, if you go into the raw ingredients list, maybe Seth, you can go into the hamburger, and you have the possibility, could you just click on show only my ingredients so it's a bit more clear? Yeah, so you have the possibility to make the changes to those 5 or 6 gray zones there, the gray buckets, meaning US dollars, the price, and so on. So if you change the price here and you update it, that's the question Julie had. What happens to my existing recipes or my existing formulations?
Right. So the everything that you see in your price is a current price. We update the exchange rate between currencies every day. So even if you stay with one currency, for example, with the euros here.
But Seth, I think, can I just interrupt? Sorry
Yeah.
for a moment. I think what she meant is what happens to the recipes in the back end. So let's say I have already, that's not even currency related, I think. It's just if I blend in US dollars and I make the price change in
Right.
the.
Sure. Yeah. It's related. I'll explain. I'll start
Oh,
with
okay.
what you're
Sorry.
pointing at, but it's also related to the currencies.
Mm-hmm.
So the quick answer is that whatever changes you make will be immediately visible in the costing. We don't save historical data. So if 2 weeks ago you had one price and then you take a snapshot of that, you'll see that that is that price for that day. So if you go forward in 2 weeks and you change it, you will see the new prices reflected here. So it's not saving historical values. So
So
the
meaning, if I can just clarify, meaning my lavender bottle was, for example, $11,
Mhm.
and I used it in one of my recipes yesterday. Today, I'm updating it to $15, so the price will automatically be updated in my yesterday's recipe. Is that
that's correct. Yeah,
okay?
that's correct.
Okay. Okay. So that
So
I think was the question. Yeah.
right, and where currencies come in is that these everything here is calculated relative to the U.S. dollar. So even if you don't make any changes whatsoever to your pricing, you may see the prices change, and that will be because the exchange rate has changed. Is for the most part, it will be very minimal, and you won't notice it. But it is something we do to keep things very accurate.
Okay. All right. You know what? We can just pause because Donna just had a question as well. She's saying, is there a way to add a function to let us know when we are getting low on an essential oil, not necessarily an inventory thing? But it does relate. Correct me if I'm wrong, but Donna, it does actually. So you would need to enter your initial size of the oil. So let's say you're giving 15 milliliters, right? You're adding a bottle that is 15 milliliters of lavender or 15 grams of lavender. And then you're saying it doesn't need to be an inventory item, but from this one bottle, you would like to know when you're getting low on lavender. Do I understand that correctly? So I think I do, but I just wanted to double check.
Yeah. So this is definitely an inventory type of item, and also on the roadmap. You will need some way to say that I have less or I've used this much, and so we can certainly supply that, and we're going to do that. We're not quite there yet, but thanks for thinking ahead, and we got you covered.
Yeah. So just to clarify, Jean is also asking, but can you add it as a new? So that relates back to the previous question, Seth. Can you add it as a new product at $15 and then it won't affect your past products? That's correct. Exactly, Jean. So if you add a new lavender bottle for $15 and you use it from now on out for the new recipes, then yes, it will not affect the old ones. And that's a really good question and actually a really good workaround.
Right.
Yeah. Okay, so yes, we do have a couple more things. Michael was asking, what's up with the categories?
Yeah. Okay. Let me handle that one. So we've been developing Blend Precisely for a while, and we initially wanted to add in categories so that you could quickly and easily organize your um, your formulations by category. So it's taken us a little while to get there. It slipped down the priority list multiple times, but it's simple enough to do. And we'll get that in there. Just a simple mechanism to say, just filter by category.
I would
So,
just, oh, sorry.
no, go ahead.
No, I just wanted to ask a question for everybody who's watching right now or afterwards. Do you actually use categories at all? Seth, can you just open up category? Oh, it's open. Okay.
Yeah.
So it does have a few categories already, but is anybody using it currently? And that was just my question. So we have a few more, but those were not questions, just something we wanted to emphasize. Oh, there's actually one more. What is the logo used for? That's from Elizabeth. Seth, you want to take this since you have the screen?
Yeah, sure.
So you can upload your own logo.
Right. So we have under accounts, there's a cute little logo of a fairy. And we use this for now primarily on when you're printing out a recipe. So if I pull that one up and I print it out, we get that logo up at the top of the printout. So we're going to be introducing invoices and other types of forms where this logo will become more of a formal business type of thing. But yeah, I'm not sure of any other way that we're using that.
Yeah, we are.
Mm-hmm.
Interruption. Orange is interrupting. We are using it actually so you can differentiate easily under the drop-down menu between Blend Precisely and your products.
Oh, yes. So if I was to put in lavender, for example.
Yeah, you can easily see.
There's that logo right there.
Yeah. And I thought that was actually really helpful because it was just blank before, but you can see your logo there too, meaning those are your items.
Yeah, thank you for pointing that out.
Yeah, and Tracy just had oh, okay, Tracy, thank you. Categories would be helpful for filtering.
Yep. And fortunately, that's not a big ask. So it's time, I believe, to get that in there.
Okay. Do you have, just looking. Right. So that was something I wanted to point one more time out because that's happening. I've seen those label questions flying around a little bit more and they are very tedious, but Seth, if you can open up the label section, we have 3 different kinds of labels you can copy and paste out into your labels. So we call them labels, but they're basically the product ingredients. And they're sorted for you in 3 different ways. The first one, I cannot really read it here on the phone, but the first one I believe was just the Latin names, correctly?
Yes, the US label.
Yeah, so the US label doesn't require INCI names. It only requires just regular names, but with Latin names. But in Europe, you do need to have the INCI names. Some people choose to only use INCI names, but then it becomes less transparent for the person who buys your products. But sometimes the label isn't very large. I mean, we have to go down to 6 points to really make it readable still. But you have the combination of the common name and the INCI name. That's my favorite one. That's what I'm using mostly because then I can sell to pretty much any country in the world without being worried about not having the INCI name on it. Now, for some products, the INCI name just doesn't exist clearly because it's a cosmetic product mostly, and it has like a ton of ingredients. And you will see that then there are 2 not available or some other thing, but that's very, very rarely. So we really put a lot of effort and time in to get you the INCI names in there. So those 3 labels, you can literally copy and paste them. And I have a live out there if you go to the YouTube channel and type in Blend Precisely label, there's a live how I use Canva and use Canva using the label section here in Blend Precisely to create my labels, just in case you're interested. So I wanted to point that out one more time.
Okay. Let's see. Have we answered all the questions?
I think there's one more from Nicole. Why are we using Blend Precisely as a supplier? Okay.
Oh, okay. Do you
I
want
can
to
answer
handle
that one. Yeah, because I'm in charge of that one. So we started out when we resourced all of the raw ingredients. At one point, we started out, I wanted to just go maybe for 1 or 2 suppliers. And believe it or not, but to find all the 300 to 400 essential oils that are currently in the system, it was extremely hard to find them with just 1 or 2 suppliers. So we had to start pulling information from different suppliers. And at one point, it was just getting so confusing that we decided, okay, we're going to make it Blend Precisely. It's going to be very obvious that these are our raw ingredients and those other ones are yours, because everybody has a different source anyway. And that's why we decided to plug in Blend Precisely. And we also update prices. And sometimes we need to change the supplier because one of them is not offering the same oil like 2 years ago, and so on. So there would be a humongous amount of effort involved to always keep all the different suppliers updated. And this way, we give you a base price. It's all under Blend Precisely. It's very clear it's not your supplier, but obviously you can enter your own products, as you know already, with your supplier information. And that's basically why we use Blend Precisely as a supplier name.
Yeah, if I can say it a little slightly more succinctly, it's just a way when somebody comes into the program, and if there's nothing here, they would have to add things just to play around with the tool. So it's partly a way to introduce people gracefully into the program, but it also gives a fairly good average price based on, what is it, organic, high quality oils? Was your criteria, Katrin?
Yeah, mostly what I'm looking for is that I had suppliers that give me all the information I needed in terms of density, that they're organic, and mostly they're organic and or at least wild crafted or no pesticides used. So the prices you see in Blend Precisely are sometimes a little bit higher than maybe any common oils, but that is just a decision we made early on, that we want to work with people or suppliers that care about the environment and sustainability as well and put effort into the oils. So yeah.
That's why.
That's
So,
why. So maybe you can close that screen, because I think we have gotten to the end, so we can show our faces one more time.
okay, let's
And
do that.
or just bring us back to life. There we go.
And somewhere here, there's a stop sharing the screen. Stop sharing. Here we go. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think there was one more comment, but it says Facebook user. Ooh, I like that. I don't know who that was because StreamYard doesn't show me the name and it's coming from a group. So whoever said, ooh, I like that. What do you like?
She likes categories from the Tracy, the previous comment.
But Tracy wrote categories. I can see Tracy's name. But whoever did that or wrote that, let us know what you liked or not liked, or liked, I guess. I hope this was helpful. I don't know if you have any more questions. Keep on commenting. If you watch this one as a review, that's why we both came on, because it's pretty much a split work effort between the two of us. It's really nice to be on as well and seeing all the faces.
All right, great. So if you didn't know, we look at feedback quite a bit as partly for ideas for future features, and just to keep our finger on the pulse of, like, if there's a problem or anything that we need to address. So your feedback is very welcome. So,
and if you can blend in the last comment, you see on the right-hand side who it was. The Facebook user was Andrea. And you can actually add it over to the section there if you hover over it. And she says, that's me, Andrea. I like the categories. I'm having connection problems and using the phone. I see no worries at all. So yeah, the category thing. I think that is a nice thing to have for sure.
yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I think we've reached the end of the rope, and thank you very much for watching.
Jean
And
says, thank you. You're welcome, Jean.
all right. Well, happy formulating, and we'll see
Yes.
you next time.
See you next week. Bye.
Bye.
Ciao, ciao.